Oh, it's a very, very interesting case. And I think for a common man, you must understand that this geolocator, which is embedded through a supply chain, has three basic parts. One is the GPS receiver, which receives signals from the satellites. Second is the SIM card. It's like the SIM card in your phone, and it sends the location to a remote server through a mobile network. And third is the microprocessor. It's a small computer that controls everything and then it sends you location from time to time. So what does it do? It's not a bugging device. It sends the location. Now, location, if the location is given latitude and longitude, and you can understand, Prime Minister goes to North Block 10:45, meets the Army Chief 2 p.m. at residence, goes to the war room at 8 o'clock. It gives you a veritable data in about a week's time or a fortnight's time where you can use it excellently for espionage or any kind of anti-national activities. So I think this has revealed one of the biggest vulnerabilities, as you rightly said, in the world supply chains. Now, Kartikeya, I was trying to find out which vehicle could it be. It could be a Range Rover, they say, Jaguar Range Rover. It was being made in Britain. Now, the Tatas, in fact, and it was a bulletproof, so it was, even other people have bought it. In India, people have bought Range Rovers, which are, bulletproof and all that. The question is that the parts which are coming from all over the world, there are various parts, sensors, chips, other kinds of equipment. And this is where the Chinese part plays in, or any other manufacturer which is interested in, in an activity like this. They would like to do it. Why not? That is the job of the intelligence agencies.
I was thinking, sir, in context of these surveillance cameras which are being imported from China and they are being maintained by intelligence and police, suppose they are turned against our security agencies?
Absolutely. In fact, this was already pointed out that some of the sensitive cameras which are there at sensitive locations should be absolutely cleaned out in the sense that, vetted and it's absolutely important. And we are getting more and more stuff from China. In fact, this aspect has been raised in the telephony part also, this telecom aspects, so many places the Chinese equipment are predominantly being supplied, and therefore some of the contracts have also been cancelled. This is the best part of intelligence snooping in the world today. It's safe and absolutely deniability is there. And in this case, by the way, Kartikeya, they just couldn't find out till they virtually, ripped apart the vehicle. Only then they could find out that this was embedded inside.
How do you tackle, counter these dual-use technologies which are required for civil infrastructure, and suddenly they can be weaponized by the Chinese? For example, CCTV cameras, or for example, our electronic cars, for example, which are being used by so many people. But they have geolocators. Cars have become software. Without a software upgrade, you will have a problem in those cars. Cars embedded with EV systems. And coming back to the real, I would say, the issue of security, everyone has a mobile phone. Everyone can be tracked. Then how do you counter this from the security perspective?
Well, you would have seen that even the most advanced security setups have failed. Even the Iranians, the hits which took place, all this intelligence was gathered from the various CCTV, various mobiles.
Yes, sir, CCTV. Mustafa Khamenei's father was actually targeted by using the local CCTV network, not
Absolutely.
through a human.
Absolutely. No, but the point is that there was a lot of human int also within Iran, which was sort of coordinating and helping out and ferreting out the information, giving out the locations, etc., etc. So, it's a tough job. And that's why, things like when people say that a particular defense complex should be here or there, it's actually in the eye of the satellites. It's available. So what you have to do is to develop robust, anti-systems. The biggest threat which is coming from the cyber area, for example, if you don't have a very strong, robust anti-cyber security setup against the threats, then all your other protection goes bust, because it can attack your core systems and finish it. This is an example of what has happened in Britain, which should be taken by all the countries very, very seriously. And what you mentioned, all these vendors, when you call and get these equipments like anything electronic or anything which you are getting in India, from CCTVs to mobiles and any other thing, these are all geolocators which give the system very, very easily. Another thing, when you're talking about the smart cars, in the smart cars, every information can be ferreted back, the number of miles, your location, etc. etc. So it is not only the PM, it's the NSA, it's the defense minister of any particular country, who can be located, and his timings are the most crucial. We have seen the damage in Iran, and therefore I'm glad that you have taken this up. It's a big, big signal for all of us to be absolutely safe in usage of the VIP vehicles, and even for public at large.
Does it mean, sir, some dumbing down of technology is required? Because I remember in 2017, when I went to China, live users are portable devices made by Israelis. So I had a version which was, I think, a 7th version or 8th version, a big live device, and it was not working there. And then I was told that the Chinese, in order to, because they had not figured out the 7th generation, I had to clean the data and bring it down to the 4th generation for it to be used in China to cover the Prime Minister.
Some of the people now are using mobiles without anything except calls and messages. Because from WhatsApp to Telegram, everything is, vulnerable. So, you're dumbing down technology in certain cases. I would love a simple telephone, which was so robust, healthy, and excellent for usage.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining me and telling us that these dual-use technologies can hide in plain sight in civilian stuff, from laptop to mobile phones to CCTV cameras. And it's a big challenge, because what can happen to a car in the cavalcade of the UK's Prime Minister, it can happen to anyone. So this was On Point 3. It's time for a short break, but don't go away, because I have another On Point lined up for you, and that is, your belly fat can kill you.
आज सम्मान निधि की ये योजना देश के छोटे किसानों के लिए सामाजिक सुरक्षा का एक माध्यम बन गई। एक क्लिक से करोड़ों किसानों के बैंक खाते में सीधे पैसा जमा होता है। दुनिया के विकसित देशों में भी ऐसा संभव नहीं है।
When stories of transformation are rooted in the soil, they reflect a picture of prosperity like this. These are the prosperous and empowered farmers of New India. Behind the success of the country's food providers lies not just their hard work, but also impactful policies of the Government of India focused on farmers' welfare. In 2019, the PM Kisan Samman Nidhi scheme was launched to address the financial needs of the farmers